Good evening, everyone. How are you? You may have to go to video on that. Click the video.
I think not live.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? Welcome to Angelina's virtual wine tasting on Friday night. We're becoming a regular thing, and tonight I'm very excited because we have a special guest with us here tonight, Marcello Palazzi from Winebow. But we are coming to you live from Dinah's dining room. Why are we coming to you live from Dinah's dining room, you ask? Well, that is a great question, because Angelina's Ristorante is open again. We had our first night open last night. We're happy to see our guests back in the building, selling the wines and talking to the guests and seeing what they've been up to. And hopefully they all enjoyed themselves because we certainly did. So if you'd like to make a reservation at the restaurant, again, we're at 25% capacity, and we are practicing social distancing and hand sanitizer and gloves and all that, face masks and all that sort of thing. So we have a little bit of a different look, but it's still the same happy food and great service that you've been accustomed to in the past. We just have to kind of get used to the new normal around here now. But if you'd like to make a reservation, you can call the restaurant at 239-390-3187. I also want to let you know we've got Nick Ketman, who's going to be paying attention to your comments. And as Marcello and I kind of trade back and forth, he and I will also be checking on comments and questions. We love questions. Questions are the best because a lot of times when you ask questions, I mentioned this the last time, I want to do the slap my forehead with the flat of my palm because I should have thought of that to tell you that. And so it's a great way for everybody else that's participating tonight to learn. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Marcello Palazzi. He's with Winebow, and I want him to, Marcello, I'd really like for you to tell us about your how you got started in the wine industry, where you're from,
Sure.
because that's going to be very important to wine number one.
Yes, absolutely.
And like what it is that you do with Winebow, and how you, what you do for all the restaurants in the area, and how you interact with us.
Absolutely.
Okay.
First of all, thank you, Dinah. Thank you, Angelina, the whole team on Angelina Ristorante, and thank you all of you to be here tonight, connected. First of all, I'm so happy. I know Dinah for over 10 years, and we became friends. We worked together very well. And my job and what I do. So some of you maybe are familiar with me. I live in Naples, Florida, and I work for a company called Winebow. And Winebow is an importer and a distributor. And I am responsible for the Italian wines that we import for the Southeast region. The Southeast region includes the states of Puerto Rico, all the way to Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, and Washington, D.C. So I have 10 states that I regularly travel and visit. Now during this time, my last trip was in the beginning of March in Charleston for the Wine Food Festival in South Carolina. But usually that's what I do. My job and my focus is to do educational events, promote our winery, educate the salespeople, presenting wine to buyers, and do events. That's what I love to do. Some of you, I did many dinners with you, Dinah and Angelina. I'm very active in wine tasting, wine dinners all over my states, and that's what I like the most, to interact with people. So obviously we adapt to the new situation. So now we are here at Dinah with the social distance that required, and we are doing this lovely wine dinner that I was so, as soon as I got here, I was telling Dinah how impressed and very proud I am of Dinah and Angelina, that their dinners have been very, very successful. I'm watching them all the time on Facebook, and I see so many people views, like over 1,000 people viewing the video comments. So it's been very good, and thank you so much for also, I am from Italy. Sorry, I'm from Italy, from Le Marche. So Le Marche is actually a region, central Italy, on the Adriatic coast, one of the region where actually the first one is coming from, and we will talk about later. I was born there. I grew up in Le Marche, and then I moved to Rome, where I went to finish my college degree, and then I moved to the United States. I was born in 1979 in Italy. I moved to the United States in 2007, and since 2007, I live here. I'm married with a wonderful lady, the rock of my life, Kate, and I have three kids, Luca, Adriano, and Clara. And 2 years ago, I brought my parents from Italy in Naples and me. So I brought a little piece of home with me.
Very nice. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, his family, his wife is just adorable, and so are the children. But Marcello is really very kind of important here in our wine community in Naples and Fort Myers. He's a big participant in the Naples Winter Wine Festival. And like he said, he does lots of educational things. He's more than willing to happy to share in wine dinners that we do. Not just here at Angelina's, but he does lots of other of the restaurants, and so he's a favorite of the Somm community here that we have. And yes, you are, but that we have here in Naples and Fort Myers, and he's a great guy, and he has his own following in his own right, and so I'm sure we're going to have lots of those viewers tonight who are here just for Marcello.
Oh no, no.
Yeah. All right. So before we get started, I kind of want to run through the packet here. Marcello, tell them please about the wine tasting dinner that we've got coming up this next Friday on May 15th.
So that's a very special. I'm so excited. So May 15th at 6:30, we are doing a special live wine dinner with a producer in Italy. This producer, it's not only a dear friend of mine. He's an icon in Italy, one of the most famous winemaker in Italy. His name is Alessandro Cellai. He's one of the most talented winemakers that I ever met. He's considered, a star in Italy. He was the one of he was the his mentor was Giacomo Tatis. So the big names in Italy. And Alessandro Cellai is the general manager winemaker of Castellare Castellina, a very famous winery in the Chianti Classico. But also he's the owner and winemaker of Podere Monastero, another beautiful project, his own project in Chianti as well. So we're gonna taste three wines, a Chianti, a Pinot Noir, and a Super Toscan that he makes. And,
so all red.
Yes, all red. He's gonna be live from Italy, so it's gonna be like midnight in Italy. He's very happy. He's very excited to do this. It's gonna be the first time ever that he's doing a live wine dinner in the United States from Italy. He's gonna be in his house in Chianti, and we are so excited. I already gave the wines to Dinah, the chef. They taste the wine, as you know. They always taste the wine, and then they build the menu around the wine. So it's going to be a great night. The dinner is going to be, it's a great deal. Imagine that for two people, with three bottles of wine, three full bottles of wine, for two people is $150 plus. So it's pretty much come down to $75 a person.
And it includes the three courses of food as well.
Yes.
For the two people.
Three courses of food, three bottles of wine. The owner winemaker from Italy, you got Dinah, you got Marcello, Chef Ryan. I mean, you got all. So it's going to be a great deal. I'm looking forward to see many of you. So looking forward to that. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're looking forward to that very much. I think it's very cute that Marcello name dropped Giacomo Takis as if any American would know who that was. But in Italy, Giacomo Takis, saying that name would be saying like the name Robert Mondavi in the United States. We would all, pretty much everybody has heard of him and known what his contribution is like the father of wine for Napa Valley. So, very cute, Marcello.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
So anyway, going over your packets, I gave you the instruction sheet, and hopefully you've got the Barad out, because Chef Ryan really did want it to be a little warmer, because it felt like that the flavors would show through a little more. And then too, the burrata can be quite hard when it's so super cold. But if you like it that way, enjoy it that way. Nobody's telling you it's right or wrong. We've got our wines poured in front of us. Again, feel free to taste back and forth. I know some of you got actually ordered dinner, but yeah, and you can use the flatbread. We weren't sure if you would have crackers or, chips or things to use at the house if you wanted to use uh, for the caponata. So the food that you got included, I actually plated these out for you today. And so we've got the burrata with the eggplant caponata. There are pine nuts in the caponata, just so that you're aware. And then we also sent the flatbread along. So again, just feel free to eat and enjoy that at any time. And so going over your packets, I know this is going to be harder to see far away, but I included a map with all the wine regions of Italy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and yeah, that's a great map. And so also too, when you look at the wine regions of Italy, think about them as if they're the states in the United States, and then within each of the regions, there's actually provinces, and you can think of those kind of like counties, except they're probably a lot larger than some of our counties may be. I also included a topographical map because the first week, live and learn. I wished I had included that in your packet. But so we're going to be tasting wines from 3 different regions. The first region that we're going to be tasting from for the white wine is Marche. And so that is
That's a region. That's a region I will grow up. That's where I drink a lot of Verdicchio. That's where I grew up in Marche.
Yeah. We'll be out of that shortly because I have a very cute little story that he told me about when I was there. I had texted him from the town of Yessi and his little comments, but we'll let them all know that in a bit. Yeah, and so we're also going to be tasting wine from Piemonte, but it's not a Nebbiolo. We're having a Barbera. So up in, yeah, I'm looking through the map. So up in this region, yeah, we've got Marche, which is over here. It even says Marche on the map. And then the final region is just further south along the Adriatic coast, and that is Molise. And I'm willing to bet a lot of you have not had a wine from Molise before. In fact, I think I only have the Di Maio Norante on my list.
Very few producing this, yes.
Yes. So it's a very sparsely populated region, but again, we'll talk about that when we get there.
Before I forget, because I know in Italy it's 6 hours, I want to make sure I say, I know that Silvano Brescianini, the owner of Pievalta, Vitaliano, the owner of Pico Macari, and Alessio Di Maio, the owner of Di Maio Ronaldo, they're watching us now live from Italy. I love you guys. I miss you. I'm so happy that you're watching us, and I really want to show you that everybody loves your wines, and we are very happy to show them tonight. So, ciao ragazzi, thank you for watching.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the first wine. I included a map of the Marche region, okay? Yeah. And so it lists the DOCG, so there's 5 of those, and then the rest are DOC. And since Marcello is from this region, I would really like for him to kind of maybe tell you about the topography, what you can expect from, like, is it really mountainous, or what's it like? What's the temperature like? Do you get a lot of rain? So all that sort of.
Sure, thank you, Dinah. So actually, as I mentioned, I grew up there. I spent most of my youth there, from when I was 10 years old until I was 22. So the Marche region is actually a beautiful region. So on the coast of the Adriatic, as you can see. So we have a beautiful coastline with beautiful beaches. This beautiful, summer vacation. And then inland, we have the Apennine going through, cutting Italy in half between the west and the east side. And closer to the Apennine, we have the beautiful hill top of the Marche region. And because of that, you really got a little bit of everything. You can go from mountains to the beach. And this is important for the food, but also for the wine aspect. The people from the Marchigiani, they are known to be very, very honest, hard worker, and very nice people. As a matter of fact, a little letter that with the Pontificium government, when the Pope had half of Italy, the central part of Italy, when the Pope was ruling central Italy, there was only one specific people that he will hire, the Pope, to go out and collect tax for people, and they were the Marchigiani, because the Marchigiani were very honest and they were not stealing. So he knew that. And the Marchigiani, they're famous because they were the people that will go out and collect tax for the poor. For that reason, not too many people love the Marchigiani back in the days because they always, if you had a Marchigiano outside the house, means they're looking to pay, asking the tax. Incredible people. They're not like, compared to Tuscany, the Marchigiani people, they didn't do a very great job to marketing themselves. Everybody does Tuscany, everybody go to Tuscany. But I'm telling you, I love Tuscany, I love the Tuscany people, but the Marchigiani, they have nothing, less from the Tuscany. Great land, great food, great wines, very nice people. So it's actually very similar in many aspects with the hilltop, the beach like in Tuscany, and very great value for wines. And the two wines that are most important, you have the white di Verdicchio that we're gonna taste tonight. You have two different appellations that we make the Verdicchio. Castelli Jesi, the one from tonight, and Matelica. And then you have the reds. They make pretty much two reds, the Rosso Piceno and the Rosso Conero, both made with a blend of Sangiovese and Montepulciano in different percentage, but both made with the two most important red grape from Central Italy, the Sangiovese and Montepulciano.
Which he just mentioned about the red here from Marche. Our third wine, the Di Maio Norante, we've got the wines listed up in front here for you. But that is a blend of Montepulciano and Sangiovese as well. And again, just a little further down the coast there on the Adriatic. And I will tell you, I was lucky enough to get to go this last summer to both Barone Pizzini and Pia Volta, and it was an amazing trip. And I see Andrea Pace.
Yes, I saw that. Andrea, ciao Andrea. And I know you know Andrea. Tell us why you know Andrea.
Yeah. Well, I went on this trip with Andrea, and there were only two of us that went with him, and so he was just an amazing host. He took us. We began in Piemonte. We went to. We went to. I think next to Veneto. We were in Swabia. We were in Franciacorta, Marche, and so it just took us everywhere. So I got to see quite a great deal of the countryside, and so it was just beautiful. But I will tell you, Marche is gorgeous, and it really is amazing to go in such a short space from the beach, the beautiful beaches they have there. I was totally amazed. And what are the little, like where all the umbrellas are lined up? What are the bagna?
Bagni.
Yes. And so they have it all laid out just perfectly, like with your beach chairs and your umbrella, and, like a little table stand, and take care of you. And I don't know, it was yeah. And so I think you said you spent quite a bit of your childhood.
Yes, actually. So when I grew up in the Castelli Jesi area, this wine, the Pievalta, comes from Maiolati Spontini, one of the village in the Castelli Jesi. I grew up in a village called Monsano, close to Jesi. And so Senigallia is one of the most beaches in the area. It's like 25-30 minutes with a scooter drive. I used to have my Vespa, so I used to drive from Monsano to Senigallia, and it's quite a ride with the Vespa, but it was fun and I have great memories. Lovely time, and I had a lot of Verdicchio when I grew up. So Verdicchio has a special place in my heart, and I'm very happy tonight that we are tasting the Pievalta Verdicchio.
Yes, yeah, and in fact, we got to stay in Senigallia, and then when we went to go visit the property, I was amazed. Like it very quickly goes from your beach, and then all of a sudden you're in hills, and then like a little further on. And I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name of the cavern system that we went to while we were in Marche.
Oh, the Grotto di Fransassi.
Yes. And so that was mountainous, and so these caverns were massive and just as beautiful as you could ever think of. But so the property itself, it's biodynamic.
Correct.
Yeah, and so
the META certification.
Yes, and so they have absolutely used no chemicals in farming. They believe in a holistic system, like that. It's not just a wine estate. We're not just going to have a monoculture of grapes. That we're going to, like, while we were there, the pigs and the chickens, and and it was very rainy when we were there, and I almost landed on my rear end about twice, and one of poor Jared did land on his rear end. Yeah, yeah, it was that kind of gray mud, that you're like, you're never going to get that out of your pants. So yeah, I tried very hard not to land in that. But so Verdicchio is the grape, and so Castel di Jesse has like 25 different castles throughout the region, and so that it's. In other words, Castelli is more than one Castello.
Yeah, it's a group.
Yeah, it's a group of castles, and so it kind of forms this region. And so it's DOC if it's like Normale, and then it becomes DOCG if it's Superiore.
Correct.
And so, yeah, it's just lovely wine. It has to be at least 85% Verdicchio. But in fact, let's talk.
Sure.
Yes. Tell me what you find.
So,
this wine
Verdicchio. What I want to tell you about Verdicchio, a few things that I want to make sure that you remember about this grape. First of all, Verdicchio is one of the most important white grape of Italy for many reasons. It's one of the few white wines of Italy can age very well. Verdicchio is one of them for sure. Verdicchio has a very noble origin, and it is a wine that has a beautiful structure, but it's also very fresh and very food friendly. Usually the characteristic of the Verdicchio, you have this almond nutty finish, and the wine is very clean and mineral. The Verdicchio, as I mentioned before, you have two different Verdicchio appellations. You have the Castigliese, a little bit more on the lower hills, and then you have Materica. So Materica, on the southern part of the Marche region, gets a little bit Verdicchio with more power, a little bit more heavier, more like alcohol content. The Verdicchio from Castigliese usually are more mineral, more crisp, more fresh. So they're both very nice, both very lovely, but in different style. The Castigliese is Dinah was explaining, different villages. This one comes from Maiorati Spontini, vineyards in Maiorati Spontini. Lovely small village, 10 minutes where I used to live with my parents. And the Verdicchio, it's really a wine that it can really dress different, many different, suits. It's you can make it very fresh, light, easy, approachable. There are some barrel aging expression of the Verdicchio. They get a little bit more, powerful and bold. But for sure, Verdicchio is a wine you can enjoy Verdicchio with appetizer, with mozzarella like it now, with crudo, seafood, sushi. It's very versatile. One of my favorite pairing with Verdicchio is with the trout. Trout is typical from Le Marche, and it is really a wine that has a lot to offer. About this winery, Pievalta, as you mentioned, very focused. It's not only biodynamic, it's also vegan, and this is very important as well. Not too many wines that we are used to that are vegan. This is a vegan wine, and very small winery, small project. They make another Verdicchio, their single vineyard reserva called Sao Paulo, and also they have a rosso that they make a red wine, and a sparkling wine, Verlugo.
Oh, that's delicious.
Unfortunately, we don't bring those in the United States, but Silvana, I had it too, and they know how much I love it. But great wines, really, these wines, without taking anything away from other Italian varietals. If you're drinking Pinot Grigio, if you're drinking light, dry, crisp white wine from Italy, you should grab a bottle of Verdicchio. And Verdicchio, it's really something that it will light up your eyes. It's a beautiful, and the thing about the ageability, the vintage we're drinking now is a 2017. This one is drinking perfect. Sometimes with some Italian wines, if you don't have the fresh vintage 18, the 19, they can be a little bit more flat. You should know what about Verdicchio. I like Verdicchio with 1 or 2 years on the ball at age because it really shows beautiful personality.
Well, in fact, while we were there, we got to taste some older vintages, and it was very impressive because, like Marcello mentioned, we don't always expect Italian white wines to age. Like we think of white Burgundy, like, oh yes, let's give that some 10 years of age. But you think about doing the Italian whites as being very crisp and clean and not ageable. And so to taste some of these older vintages, in fact, I should have looked up to see what the oldest vintage was that we had. But yeah, it was very impressive how they aged and matured. And so, yeah, so you can buy those and keep those for a while, and especially the Pievolta, I feel, because it just has this like level of quality to it, like where it's very crisp and delineated. I always say, like, for those that come into Angelina's, I like to go to the table and, you know, ask, what do you normally drink? Are you willing to venture to Italy or an Italian restaurant? And so most of the guests are more than willing. That's why they're there. And so I would, like, if I heard somebody saying they kind of liked Pinot Grigio, maybe even Sauvignon Blanc, something that's got this, like, there's a greenness to the wine for me, but there's also like a nuttiness and uh, yeah,
Absolutely.
almost like
So
a smoke note or something.
it is a
Yeah,
little, you know, little
saline. Yeah,
and
really pretty.
this wine again with Verdicchio, you should really explore those wines. I see comments, you know, people loving Verdicchio. It's vegan, great thing. The thing about the wines right now, Verdicchio is getting a little bit more popular in the United States. You have, you know, you can see Verdicchio by the glass now. I think, you know, you
Yes.
see this by the glass.
We pour this by the
Yes.
glass. So
That's
if you
a-
like that, come in and have a glass.
Yeah, that's a great way because it really, it is actually, and I want to talk about by the glass and wine like this one. They are biodynamic, natural, vegan. Actually, they really do very well as a body glass because be such a with no so far no preservative, no artificial. Like really, they stay they last longer when you open them. So this is a great wine to have body glass. You know, you can have this wine the next day. You still get a lot of the complexity. It doesn't lose any of these components. So great wine, and the thing about these wines, they're really great value. So you can really. I always tell people to look for less known region like Marken, less known varietals like Verdicchio, and try them because you will get great value like tonight. Because that's a great value compared to some of the most known varieties like Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, where people can get ask more money for because they're more popular.
Absolutely. Yeah, that wine, I just love that wine. And so, yeah, it's just quality winemaking. And I love these wines that the price of the bottle and then uh, like when you taste it, and I'm sure when Marcello.
I like to reply comments. I see Barb Gardner. She loves the wine. I love you, Barb. Thank you so much for watching.
I miss Garfield. I Mr. Garfield.
Hey, Paul. Oh yeah, Paul too. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul. Love
Marcello perhaps doesn't love you as much.
Maybe.
Yeah. But I love these wines too, though. That when you like when Marcello will bring me a wine, and I'll be like, okay. And I don't like to know the prices ahead of time, like when I'm tasting them. And so then I'll be like, okay, and how much is it? And then when he tells, I'm expecting to hear a $50 price tag, and he tells me it's $15. I about want to faint and hit the floor, and I'm like, well, like, why? Why would you only, And so there are some of these regions, like you mentioned, these lesser known regions, because people don't know, like, people know Tuscany and they know Piemonte, and now they probably really know Sicily. But for Lazio and Marche and certainly Molise, I can't wait till we get to that one too. That'll be fun. But there's just such great wine being made, and because people don't know these regions, importers are afraid to bring something over that people don't know and take a chance on it. But I think as America has gained such a much, I see every year we've got a much, much better wine knowledge amongst our consumers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so it makes a big difference. And so, in fact, when I first started at Angelina's, I don't think I was able to even I could get wines from Market, but I don't think I was able to find a wine from Molise, and I had a really hard time getting wine from Val d'Aosta and Liguria. Yeah. And I'm like, our Italian restaurant, I have this beautiful 30-foot wine tower, and it should have a wine from every single region in Italy. And so finally we have all those things. And so I think, again, it's because the American consumer is just really anxious to learn about wine. And I guess, obviously, because we've got all of you watching. And so it's just, I know it's exciting for you.
Yes,
it's really exciting for me.
Plus, if you think about Italy, what made Italy famous all over the world for the culture, the food is the diversity. Diversity. We have we have 21 regions, and the beauty. I always tell people, I love my French wine. I love my Californian wine. I love wine from Spain. Last night I had a beautiful bottle from Rioja. But the thing with Italian wines, that you can really discover at a tasting and dinner. It is a wine, different one every night. You go to Dinah Angelina, you can go there 7 days a week, and she can put you a different grape every night from a different region. And that, unfortunately, you cannot do that with many other wine countries in the world. So it's kind of just fun. If you're a food, a wine lover, it's fun to navigate in Italy with different regions. So and this is one of them, Marche with Verdicchio. So thank you so much, Silvano, for what you're doing. Alessandro, the winemaker, I met him, a great guy. Thank you so much for his working hard. And of course, Andrea Pace to bringing those and really working with us with the wine in the United States to promote this wine. Thank you, all of you. Delicious wine.
Absolutely. So
cheers.
Cheers.
So
that's scrumptious. So yeah, love that wine. I know last week the Tosca Dal Marita, the Grillo, was a big hit, and I would imagine this one probably is going to be a big hit too. We had some of the guests purchase cases of wine from us last week. So if you are interested, let us know, because luckily this is the only good thing about COVID.
Yeah, tell us. So you are still allowed to sell wine as legal, right?
As of this moment, yeah, and that can change at any time. But if you're interested, let us know, and we can arrange that for you. Yeah, and so I also want to say thank you to Silviano and Alessandro and Andrea. That trip was just amazing, and just some of the wineries that Andrea represents to visit the different ones. They were all just amazing in their own rights, and Silviano, you were fantastic. We loved you. I loved him racing all over the place while we were in Franciacorta, and we would stop at an espresso bar and have an espresso. Off we go. And yeah, he was. He's a great guy. So thank you all very much. Love these wines. So next wine. Oh, I guess maybe I want to ask a comment.
Yes.
And what do you all think of the wine? Did you have any questions for us? And what did you think about the pairing? I would imagine. I haven't tasted the Brada he has, but his is about gone. He'll probably be mine here in a minute too.
We have a question for Barbara Martino.
Yes.
If you can share the price of a case for the Verdicchio. Do you know on top of your mind? No. Well, we'll get back to you, Barbara.
Yeah. And in fact, Ms. Martino, first of all, tell your dad that I said hello. I saw he was having issues with his new computer and he can't hear us. So he's actually listening with you over the phone. So tell him I said hello. We're very happy to have both of you back. And I will contact you tomorrow. But these wines are not expensive. And so, yeah, it's very affordable. And we're doing the half off of the wines, and if you get a case, I'll even give you a little bit better of a discount for that. So hopefully Mrs. Smith listening to me now will not kill me for that. But yeah, no, the wines are just exquisite. And like I mentioned too, it's not like you have to drink them a week from Tuesday because they can have some age to them.
Yes.
So, and in fact,
and by the way, I just want to comment the pairing. It goes extremely well with the burrata. So the burrata is this very rich, creaminess cheese aspect, and the verdicchio is so clean, so mineral, beautiful seed. They really cast through the richness of the burrata. I mean, it's very versatile. You can do this with many other dishes, but it works very well. So good job.
Good. Yeah, and again, when we pair wines with foods, I applaud the Italians because for them, wine is food. For Americans, still, wine is cocktail. And so I'm not gonna lie, I'm American, and but I could totally. I mentioned about crushing the Tosca Grillo sitting by the pool. Well, I can totally see doing the same thing with this white wine. I might have to take a tons afterwards because there is a lot of acid to wine, but that's what makes it a great food wine. And so, again, the fattiness of the burrata with the acidity of this wine, it cuts through that. And so you coat your tongue with the fat from the cheese, and then the acid strips it off. So then you want more cheese, then you want more wine, then you want more cheese, and then you want more wine. And yeah, and then pretty soon you've consumed 8 ounces of cheese and the entire bottle of wine, and things are probably not going to be happy for you tomorrow. But yeah, so hopefully that did not happen. But Anyway, Marcello, we check and see if there's.
No,
I
we just
know.
I know that
Yeah.
so Nick replied that he's going to come back with the price.
Oh, okay.
Mr.
Yeah,
Nick.
Nick will be able to look that
Yeah.
up for you and
Yeah.
answer you now in real time. He's actually at the restaurant. He's not here at the house. Again, we got kicked out from the restaurant because luckily we needed the space.
Yes.
So
So,
yeah, it's good news. We're
we
happy
have-
to be back.
We have more people on Maureen, I, Anna Claudia, and then Pat. It's just a newbie, but great. Thank you to
Well,
all of
hello.
you.
Yeah, no,
thank
we're
you so
welcome
much.
to. We're very happy to have you. It's actually, I think this is kind of fun having. It's like we're Regis and Kathy Lee, and I won't say who is who, but having another person with you because we think of things that maybe the other one's not thinking of
That's
saying.
very
So,
cool. So
yeah.
Barbara Martino, her sister Kimberly, she's actually watching us. She's not here, so she's actually pulling the same wines, varietals wines. So Verdicchio from her cellar, and she's looking forward to be able to come down to Florida and taste those wines. So thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, I know we have other people that are watching us from New Jersey.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
they were finding out what the wines were for tonight, and so I explained I didn't know if they would be able to get some of these wines, but explained that if you get definitely get Classico Superiore like
Sure.
what we're drinking right now for the Pia Volta, and that good quality Barbera d'Asti will do. That would not be so hard to find. The one I was troubled about would be
in New Jersey. We are well represented in New Jersey as well. So it was actually when we started with Leonardo Locascio.
Yes.
He was there. So.
Well, and I thought of that too earlier, but I thought too, well, I don't know where they live in New Jersey, and but so yeah, so we've got some rather special wines. So let's go ahead and head on to wine number 2, because I think Marcello and I could talk all night. But right. So anyway, we are headed to Piemonte. So Piemonte is up here in the northwestern corner of Italy. It's the kind of, I don't know, peach colored on your map.
Yes.
So Piemonte is a just a lovely, lovely place. All right. It's a bigger sort of region. They make many, many DOCG wines, DOC wines. There really is no IGT in Piemonte.
No?
Yeah, yeah, there's none. They include everything, like they kind of include a blanket umbrella under, say, like Longuet, so they can make Longuet Chardonnay, and but that's a DOC. And so high quality winemaking, I think, is a top priority. And so we can compare Tuscany maybe to Bordeaux, and we can compare Piemonte to Burgundy in France. And just a little sidetrack here, but one of the reasons maybe we can compare Piemonte to Burgundy is because Napoleon conquered the area at one point and put his inheritance laws into effect so that the oldest son did not inherit everything and all the other children were excluded. It was divided evenly amongst the children. And so you literally would have a 100-acre plot, and if you had 4 children, be they boys or girls, it would be divided amongst them. And then they had children, and then they had children, and then you get to a state like Burgundy, where some people literally own 2 rows of vines. And so it's very specialized, and in fact, when we get a little more into talking about the region of Piemonte, like the vineyards are named, there's hundreds and hundreds of what they call menzione geografica tipica. Yeah. Who taught me?
I hope so.
Yeah. But so Marcello helped me very much with my Italian pronunciation.
Dinah, she texted me once in a while in Italian. I just love, and I replied to her in Italian. And when she called me, she said, "Buongiorno, Marcello." So she's very. I love that. One thing I want to mention about the comparison, the similitude between Bordeaux, Tuscany, and Burgundy, Piemonte is also, if you think about Burgundy and Piemonte, both appellation, both regions, they are very monovarietal driven. In Burgundy, when you say red Burgundy, is Pinot Noir 100%. When you say white Burgundy, is 100% Chardonnay. in Piemonte, except for the DOC Langhe Rosso appellation where they can blend, but most of the rest of the wines from Piemonte, they are monovarietal. Like the Barbera d'Asti we're having tonight, 100% Barbera. Barolo is 100% Nebbiolo. Barbaresco is 100% Nebbiolo. The Gavi is 100% Cortese. You have the Roero Arnese, 100% Arnese. It's a very monovarietal. Dolcetto is 100% Dolcetto. Piemonte is a monovarietal region, mostly, except a few exceptions, like in Burgundy. So that's another similitude. They don't like to mix like in Bordeaux and Tuscany, where they are pretty well known and they do great results on blending different varieties.
Yeah, and again, going back to the comparisons of Tuscany with Bordeaux, blends. The blends. You're not going to put all your eggs in one basket, especially in Bordeaux where you have hail and frost and mold issues and that sort of thing. And so Tuscany kind of takes its model after that. There is the important exception of Brunello di Montalcino. But anyway, so back to the second one that we're having. In fact, let's go ahead and have you, Marcello, talk about the producer
and
the production methods and all of that, I think.
I was saying before, again, many wines I represent, many wineries. Some of them are very close to me. This winery is, again, another great friend, Vitaliano. Ciao, Vitaliano, I know you're watching. He's a dear friend. A lovely, lovely, sweet person. I mean, when I see him, I wish he was, a member of my family. I feel like he's like my brother, my cousin. That guy. The one is a Pico Macari. We are located in the Monbaruzzo village in the Asti appellation, beautiful area, and the Pico Macari winery, they are specialists with the Barbera. They have other wines and they do other production of small wines, but they are for sure leader, a pioneer in the Barbera. They have different style of Barbera. They have a Brut Rosé Barbera, they have a Rosato Barbera, and they have different levels of Barbera. Very youthful, approachable, Villa de Rosa, and then they have the Lavignone, they have barrel aged Barbera, so they really focus on Barbera. The one that you see tonight, the Lavignone, it's one of the best value Barbera d'Asti you can find. Many times, many vintage, like the one you're drinking now, won the 3 Classes Gambero Rosso Award. That's the highest achievement for an Italian wine in the most important Gambero Rosso. Gambero Rosso is the wine spectator of Italy for Italian wines. The winery it's very important in the area because Vitaliano owns over 60 hectares of land contiguous of Barbera, and that's not very common in Piemonte. Like Dinah was saying before, like Burgundy, you have many people that own parcel of vineyards around the different areas. So you will have in one hill you have a different producer. Vitaliano was able to actually purchase over 60 acres of land contiguous and plant olive Barbera. So it starts from
I'm going to interrupt him. To have that much acreage is that hectares or acres?
Hectares.
Hectares. So 1 hectare is 2.47 acres. So that is a lot of land to have. That like he would be.
Yeah, that's all estate ball. Yeah. So all estate ball. Lavignone is actually the name of the vigna means vineyard. So Lavignone is the bigger vineyard. So this is it's a single cru Barbera. So it's from the most important area of their winery. And this one it's 100% Barbera, stainless steel tanks. No barrel aging, it's fresh, it's clean. One thing with Barbera in the past, in my over 10 years in the industry, I know that Barbera was not very well received in the United States because most of the Barbera they had very high acidity, but the Vitaliano really managed the acidity very well. So this Barbera doesn't have this extremely high acidity. It's very well incorporated with the wine. Beautiful, approachable, fresh. This wine is great, versatile wine. I love this one with pizza. I love this one with the barbecue. I love this one with the burger sandwich. It's very approachable, great value. It is a great bottle of wine, so very nice.
Yeah, no. And talking about topography of the region, so we've got Piemonte here in northwestern Italy. And so you can see from this topographical map that we've got this big, huge green strip that runs out to the Adriatic. And so this is the Po River Valley. And so the Po River actually originates in the Apennines, I'm sorry, in the Alps here, and then runs on out to the Adriatic. And there's many, many tributaries that form there. And so in this green fertile area, this is the ideal place for farmers. Okay, so we're growing things like risotto rice and hazelnuts and almonds and cherries and just all sorts of food crops. Well, for again, as we have mentioned in the past, for winemakers, this is not the ideal soil that they want. It's too fertile. The grapes are going to get too big. They're going to burst. And so you want hillsides where the soils are porous. So once again, farmers and winemakers really are in competition for the same types of land. And so here in Piemonte, you can kind of see where it gets kind of yellow here. This is where we have these, where the Apennines are starting here, and then they curve down the center of Italy and finish in Sicily. But where this little jut of land is, this is where like Barolo is, and the hills of the Langhe. And so they're gently rolling. I will tell you, there's lots and lots of wine regions that when you go, you're like, oh, this is just what it looked like in the book and the magazine, and oh my goodness. And Piemonte is not one of those regions. You go and like when I was in Diano d'Alba, so all the towns are hilltop towns because we have to fight off these German barbarians that are going to invade us, and we're going to have the most strategic point, which is at the top of the land. In Burgundy, the villages are not on the tops of the hills. They're down at the bottom by the river, not where the prime planting land is, but Italy, it's much more, and so literally you can stand there, and like when I was at Castello di Neve, you literally could turn around in a 360-degree circle and just see, and it's so much steeper than what the pictures look like. It is absolutely breathtaking. And like I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, but you could see off to the Alps, the snow-capped Alps in the far, and I mean, that's like, what, 4 hours away?
Yes.
Yeah. And so it is just breathtaking. And the other thing I want to tell you too, if you're a traveler, Piemonte has more Michelin-starred restaurants than any other place on earth.
Sure.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say, so a few things. I saw a question that was talking about Asti, sparkling. No, so Asti is a village, but also there is a style of wine. Every time you see Moscato d'Asti, it is a fizzy, semi-sparkling style of wine. That's why, some people, Spumante d'Asti, Moscato d'Asti, but Asti is a village. Yeah. Then I want to say, I just see that Di Maio Norante is watching us. Alessio, ciao. We're going to do your wine soon.
Your wine's next.
Just hold your wine right here. So we finish up with the Barbera. And so it is, and Barbera is coming back. Barbera is coming back big time, and it's a really, I like Barbera. Obviously, Dinah has the perfect temperature. I like Barbera a little bit, in a chilled temperature.
Chilled,
and especially when you're in Florida, it's beautiful. It's getting warmer. This wine, it's a great wine during the summertime. Mm-hmm. They also make a great rosé. L'Italiano makes a great rosato. I'm bringing down in Florida the sparkling Barbera soon, but the Barbera d'Asti L'Avignon, it's a great as a refreshing everyday, with your lunch as well wine. So it's a good wine.
All right, I'm glad you like the maps because
it's amazing.
I had a comment here from Ms. Martina. Yes, maps are how I learn and how I cement these things in my head because, like, literally, I laughed. Our friend Milan, he says about like where he's got the computer screen and he's shooting out, and like he keeps going in deeper and deeper, and he can pinpoint that, and he can see what the hill slopes look like. But it's so helpful to learn all of this. The other thing I wanted to address. I think too, people were kind of afraid of Barbera in the past because, it's Nebbiolo is the king, right? And so wine of king and king of wines. And whereas Barbera, you grew it where you couldn't grow Nebbiolo. And I don't think that's so much true anymore. And I think the Italian winemakers are taking Barbera much more seriously. And so some are even aging them in oak. You do see some other, in fact, I had to, because when I got asked for the people that were going to have their wine in New Jersey today, I had to open this bottle because I had not had this in a long time. And I just wanted to see if there was some carbonic on the wine. And I'm talking about carbonic maceration, which lends it a completely different color and flavor. Mm-hmm. And so some producers do that. And so, again, that's why you want to call me over to the table to describe what kind of wine that you like, because then I'll know where to set you to. Yeah, carbonic is kind of the flavors and things that you find in Beaujolais. So
I have a question from Kimberly, the sister of Di Martino, about Barbera in California. Yes, I had some of those Barbera in California. Obviously, as you say, as you mentioned, different. The thing is with the grapes and with the wines that grapes are vines, plants. And you can grow them. If you have a growing area, not Florida, but if you have a growing area, you can grow. You can plant and plant. But the wine, the Barbera I tasted from California, they are not the Barbera style that you will expect with the flavor profile and the nuance, the minerality, that you will find in Barbera of Italy. They're nice wine, but for sure you get a little bit more fruit, forward, a little bit more fruitier, more rich in the fruit, a little bit more warmer and riper style of the Barbera. But this is what it's nice. It's nice to see different style, but for sure, if you're learning, if you want like a true style of a Barbera d'Asti, you need to find a producer in the Asti appellation, a traditional Barbera d'Asti. I would say do a oak like tonight, stainless steel, and then try a barrel aged Barbera. You can see the two expression of the Barbera grape. One more fresher, approachable, easier, fruitier. One more robust and with some structure and character. But for sure they're different. Right?
Yeah, and I know we had the comment from one of you about being just kind of new to all of this. And let me tell you, good for you. You're on such an exciting journey because wine is so much fun. And I always felt my whole life like I was a jack of all trades and master of none. And wine suits me perfectly because you have to know about history and geology and geography and chemistry and biology and plant science and just all these things. And it just makes it so fascinating. But so like Marcello mentioned, you probably, definitely stick to Barbera d'Asti. They also there's a DOC Barbera d'Alba, which is worth trying as well. But don't be afraid to try out your wine store people or sommeliers because as you can see, the two of us are pretty jazzed up about wine. And so, it's like if I'm not at work, I'm studying about wine at my house. I had to actually clean my house before Marcello got over here. I'm like,
it's fine, it's perfect.
Yeah. Of course, it's perfect now. Should have seen it before. But I'm just joking. But it's like you get consumed by it. And but so I think in the past, like sommeliers and maybe even wine shop owners had a very bad reputation because you'd be scared to go into a wine shop or scared to ask for the sommelier in a restaurant because their noses are stuck up in the air over how much they know. And now, and especially with our group that we have here in the Naples-Fort Myers area, I can't say enough nice things about all of them. We all try to help each other out. We're very collaborative. It's not competitive.
Talking about the Southern group, I see that Eric and Peter from the US Nemo were connected. Hi guys.
Hi guys. But and so I think we now think about it like, honestly, it's fermented grape juice. Get over it. And so my deal is I don't care if you tell me you want to spend $29 on a bottle of wine, I'm going to get you the best $29 bottle of wine that you've ever had in your life to match your taste. And that is my goal. That's Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Did we mention the food was paired with the Pico Macario?
I'm sorry,
with the Barbera?
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, Marcello. So I would imagine, again, Marcello's probably eyeing up my plate. Would you like?
No. Everyone. I finished.
Yeah, and here's I am touched my.
No, I finished.
Yeah.
No,
not surprising if you know this one. But yeah, so I think we should talk too about the things like maybe that we're tasting or smelling in the wine, because I think the guests like to. Our guests like to hear that.
Well, when I smell Barbera, first thing I smell red berries, cranberries on the nose. The wine, as soon as you smell, for me, it's we call in Italian bagnato. It's wet. It gives me the very fresh sensation. Obviously, I can smell it's a stainless steel. There's no oak, right? It's very fresh food. And the overall aspect of this wine, it's really a wine that gives me it's not too dry. It doesn't dry, it doesn't give me the particular feeling. It doesn't dry out my mouth. It starts the salivation in my mouth because of the minerality, but it's not extremely dry. So it's actually a wine, also a sipping wine, like you were saying, like it's an aperitif wine as well. And it is a wine that has a little like a pepper, like kind of like a peppercorn, like a white pepper notes, but very subtle, and it's really very approachable red wine. What do you think?
Well, I see the peppercorn note, but I'm like one of those 10% of the population that we cannot spell that white pepper, because you can tell me that you could pour 100 pounds of white pepper in Bruner Veltliner and I would never get it. And well, there have been exceptions, but yeah, I get that pepper element to it. I do feel there's a little bit of heat to this wine.
Okay.
It's a little bit higher alcohol. But I started laughing when he said about red fruit and cranberry, and it's probably not because it's lower than it's higher than the Pia Volta, but he says about red fruits, but I get black fruits to it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, and maybe like smoked black plum. There's like a smoky note to Barbera for me always, kind of, and then.
But it's interesting you say smoky note because actually every time I talk with producer, many producers all tell me Barbera as well with barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
They like it with a burger, like a barbecue.
Yeah, no, and I would totally see that. And the other thing I like about this wine so much, so there's this richness on the palate, but the acidity. Okay, so when you taste it and chew it around, get it all over your mouth. So you've got this richness, but then at the finish, the acidity just kind of wants to shoot that down your palate. And so again, this is another great food pairing wine. And like Marcello mentioned, not high in the tannins, it's not dry. It has this, like I always like to describe these kinds of wines as having this bouncy, juicy fruit. It's just exuberant fruit without being jammy.
Yeah,
it's not overripe. We've got this slight underripeness to the fruit, but it's just exuberant. And that's how I always describe Barbera, is that it's just, the fruit's just happy.
It is, and this is another great value. So we're talking about wines. Those are wines that, like Dinah mentioned before, you can open those on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday. It's not a wine for a special occasion. They're very versatile with the food pairing, and they're wine that really, I know that Nick is gonna get back to you with all of you with pricing. Great price point, and during this time, we all know, that we drink more. We don't have to drive. We can't drive too much. We can go to many places. So those are great wines. Really, really, I'm a big fan of low alcohol wines. I don't like high alcohol wine. This one, I was just checking the label, is 13.5. Everything for me that's below 14.5, it's up to my alley. I do drink wine higher, but the majority of the wine that I drink is a lower alcohol wine. That's what I like. Yes. And that's one of them. It's a great wine.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and especially for us living here in Florida, having the lower alcohol in the wines. Can you imagine going to the beach in the middle of summertime and you've dragged along an Amarone and a Nebbiolo, and you're going to try and drink that like it's a cocktail? Your face will be so sunburnt.
Yeah,
It's just the alcohol flushing your face, and oh my, yeah, no. And so, yeah, and it's nice to be able to have, more than a glass. Like Amarone, boy, yeah, a couple comes in and crushes a bottle at the restaurant. I'm like, oh.
And again, we don't want to judge, like
Yeah.
there are people that like different stuff.
Yeah. Oh no, no.
What we're trying to say is that there are some wines that fit more the climate. Like now we go to the warm. It's like with the food, right? I love a great slow braised, brasato meat with the polenta, corned beef. But do I want that in the July August situation, or I want that like in January and February? Maybe I will enjoy that in January. So it's just the timing. But great, no, it's okay. It's fine. Oops. I don't think we have any questions on the so far.
So I do want to know though what you thought, because again, we've given you the food, and this kind of crosses across the three wines, and I can only imagine with that smokiness, and there is almost like that black olive characteristic, how good that might have been with that with the eggplant caponata. Again, he's eating the food, so he can probably rave and rant.
I'm just.
He's gonna polish off our big huge plate of flatbread here too in a moment, I'm sure.
Well, I have to. It's part of my job. It's required.
Yes.
So let me see. I'm just checking some question. If you have any question, if not, we can move on to the next one because I know that Di Maio Alessio is watching us.
And it's getting quite late in Italy now.
Yeah.
So, yes. So the next wine that we're moving on to is the Di Maio Norante Ramatello is the name of the wine, and this is from Molise. Okay, and so while he's kind of looking through here, I included a map of Molise, and if you look at your map of the, oops, let me get rid of Piemonte here. But if you look at your map of Italy, Molise is just very tiny. It's underneath Abruzzo, which is underneath Marche. We had actually had a wine from Abruzzo last week, and so we're kind of drinking our way. We've had Emilia Romagna, so we're kind of drinking our way down the Adriatic coast. So very nice, right?
Yeah. By the way, we did the north with the Pievo Macario, central with Pievalta, and now we go to south. So we touch all the three major areas of Italy: north, Piemonte, Pievo Macario, central with the Pievalta, and now south with the
Yes, and so Molise is very kind of interesting because it's not super populated. Again, we've got the Apennines running down the spine of Italy, and so it kind of divides it from perhaps more populated Lazio and Campania over to the west coast, and to not a lot of producers here. At one time, Abruzzo and Molise used to be one, and it was called Abruzzi, which is plural of Abruzzo. So when Molise split off from Abruzzo, changed its name, and Molise became Molise. Now, Molise is one of only 5 of the 20 regions of Italy that does not have a DOCG, all right? And some of the other ones may be having a DOCG in the foreseeable future, but not for Molise, okay? And so just like Abruzzo, its neighbor to the north, a little bit, perhaps you might want to describe the wines, especially if you're there, as maybe a little more rustic in nature. But again, I love those kinds of wines. They have their place. Now, I will say this wine is not one of those. All right? Di Maio Norante is probably the most famous producer in all of Molise. Best well known, and probably at this point, what the other producers in Molise would look to as being their benchmark for quality.
Well, thank you. So, I mean, again, tonight I feel like I'm home with my brothers and cousins from Italy. So, Di Maio Norante. Molise, it's not a very well-known region in Italy for tourists and of course in the United States. But and the wine production in Molise, it's not as popular that in Piemonte Tuscany. But for sure, if there is one name in Molise, that's a Di Maio Norante, with no doubt. Alessio is a dear friend of mine. Ciao Alessio. Their family, it's a family-owned wine. It's not just a winery; they produce a lot of other. They call agriturismo. They have the cheeses, and the meat, or the vegetable. It is a leader in the area. As Dinah said, mentioned before, if you're looking for wine from Molise, you will have a hard time to find them. And when you find them, most likely in the United States, you will get your hands on bottle of Di Maio Norante. And that's because Di Maio Norante, it is Molise. Molise is Di Maio Norante in the wine industry. This wine that we're showing today, Ramitello. Ramitello is actually an appellation in Molise, and it's this wine is a blend. It's mostly the Montepulciano, and also there's a 15% of Aglianico. So Dinah was mentioned before, the Abruzzo, Molise, and those two regions, because that you have the two grapes, Montepulciano and Aglianico. They are the typical grapes from Abruzzo and from Southern Italy. So remember, Molise, it's on the border with you have Campania, right, where actually the Maio family comes from, Campania. You have, Puglia, you have Basilia. All those regions, they have the Aglianicos in the, in the area. Montepulciano from Abruzzo, of course. So, as you know, vines, grapes, they don't have borders. They don't have, we as people, we put borders. So, the Aglianico and Montepulciano, they are in the central southern part of Italy for sure. And this wine, it's an incredible wine. I remember when I met the first time Alessio, I was just impressed. He's such an energetic person, and you can see his energy, his passion on his wines. Always over delivered. The wines, they never want to be, those wines, they don't want to be the snobby wines. They are true wines. Every year when I go to Vinita, this year, unfortunately, I was not able to go to Vinita because of the situation. But every year when I go to Vinita, there is one stop that I have to make. And all my friends in Wine, they know I need to go to the Di Maio Norante, sit down and eat the mozzarella di bufala that Alessio has. The best mozzarella bufala I ever had in my life. We taste the wine, we eat the mozzarella, we talk. The wine is organic, 100% organic. The wines that are over delivering. This one is a medium to full body red wine. You get the fruit, the richness, these cherries from the Montepulciano, and then you get these the more dry cigar box, the tannin from the Aglianico blended together. It's a great, really wine. I compare this wine when people ask me for a nice, rich, full body wines. This is a great wine to show people without breaking your bank. It's a really a wine that over delivers for one. And again, it's a wine that can stand in the beautiful slow braised meat, steak, potato, and also maybe with a pizza with some sausage, something a little bit richer. But it is a unique wine, and this is the flagship wine about this wine. One thing about this wine many times gets on top of 100 West Potato. And many people, they don't know that, they don't look at, but it's one of the great value because, to be on top of 100 West Potato, there's a lot of things that goes in place, factors to be on top of 100 West Potato. It's amazing to see how a bottle, this one retails for, 19.99, 20.99, 21.99, and it's a great value. So, again, what do you think about the notes of this wine? What do you, I mean?
Yeah. No, and in fact, the first two wines were both 2017, and this one is 2014. And I feel that you can sense that we're getting some age now here, right? To the wine.
Yeah, no.
And
obviously, this one says wood, you can see that.
Yep. And so it adds like another note of complexity to the wine. And so I love the richness of it. I think we can tell even from the first red wine to the second red wine that we're in a warmer climate. But at the same time, we've not approached perhaps total jam jar here.
So I just thought two things. First off, I see my dear friend and boss Salvatore Galati live watching us. So we need to be professional. Ciao Salvatore. And also Barbara Garbo. The official word for describe this wine is yummy. Yeah. I like that, Barb. Yummy. Thank you.
Yeah, it is yummy. Yeah, and I like too. It's got you can taste those toasted notes from the oak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's got this toastiness to it. Whereas I feel like the Barbera had more of a smokiness. And yeah, and there's again this richness to the palate. But whereas the Barbera shot, you tasted the richness and the acid shot it down the back of your palate. This one just kind of hangs out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's a
yeah.
And again, I think this wine, it's a really a great way to present south of Italy because you have the central south of Italy. You have the Montepulciano, that's the second most planted red grape in Italy after Sangiovese. Mm-hmm. That many people know the Montepulciano. And the Montepulciano, it's a grape that in Italian we call Ruffiano. It's a grape that it's easy to love. You know, as these beautiful cherry notes, it's juicy, soft tannins, it's very approachable. And then the Aglianico. Aglianico is the most important red grape of south of Italy, right? If you think about Italy, you have Nebbiolo in the north, Sangiovese in the central, and Aglianico in the south. Aglianico has all the capability to age. It's the longevity to age, the structure, the tannin, the complexity, and mixed together in this beautiful balance. You really have a very well balanced wine that gives you everything that you need to enjoy a nice meal with a true Italian red wine. So it's a great wine.
Yeah, and so another thing I wanted to mention too was this has the Aglianico, but there's also another grape too that Sagrantino. These two grapes are the most tannic grapes on the planet. Like, I think probably eating the grapes by themselves, you would just pucker up and die. Nebbiolo is also very tannic, but not in the way these two are, and so they do need some age to soften up. Now, this one, again, we got the Montepulciano, and I said before Sangiovese, I was completely wrong, Aglianico. But that Aglianico to this soft, pretty fullness adds this backbone to it, like where it makes this serious kind of wine that means business. It's not just flapping around and whatever, but really, really good. And yeah, especially for the price, it's just delightful.
So we got a few comments. Okay. Actually, Kathy said it turned my mouth and teeth purple. Yes, it's Aglianico and Montepulciano. You really get this.
Yeah, Aglianico is thicker skin. It gives a lot of there's lots of anthocyanins in the skins, and it will pigment that wine. Honestly, though, when you look at it, it doesn't look that bad. But there are some grapes that they just want to purple up the choppers, as it were, or your chiclets. And yeah, so you.
And I see one more thing. Just a dear friend, a colleague of mine, Keith, just joined us. Thank you, Keith. Hi. Also, so Barbara Martino is talking about this one. It is like some French wine, the dirt. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah. This is the Aglianico. The Aglianico gives you this really, typical experience of the eating a piece of dirt, soil.
Like potting soil.
Yes, that's typical of the Aglianico. So I totally understand what you. And I see she's already thinking about tomorrow, pairing the second wine, the Barbera, with the pizza, and this wine, great idea. Yes, Kathy, the 14 is the vintage available now. So if you order some Ramitello Di Maio from Dinah, it will be the 2014. And
I think that's just wonderful. It's just looking beautiful.
How you pronounce this? I can't pronounce this.
Oh, Gouveia.
Gouveia, say Montepulciano always. Yes, Montepulciano. It's a very popular varietal, and Montepulciano is actually a grape that I like Montepulciano because it can stand by himself, but also Montepulciano. I always tell people, Montepulciano is your good buddy because it likes to be a social, to blend with other grapes. And in Italy, you find several times Montepulciano blends. It's a grape that is very well blended. So that's
And one thing I do want to say too, I think Americans for a long time we were like, what's in the bottle? What's in the bottle? That's, what do you mean it's blend? What? Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, Pinot Grigio. Why doesn't it say that on the label? And now I think Americans, especially because the winemakers out in California, especially have been making red blends, and red blends are super popular now. And so I think it's now not such a, oh my goodness, why are you blending grapes? Well, the majority of the wine regions of the world blend grapes, and it's to hedge bets, against Mother Nature, because some grapes are ripen earlier or ripen later, and so it just depends. And so you, again, like in Piemonte, where the climate is marginal, maybe we don't put all of our eggs in the basket of Nebbiolo. Maybe we're also going to plant some Barbera and some Moscato and some Roero and Dolcetto and other grapes. We're not making blends, but we're still going to not rely on that.
Yeah.
Whereas other regions like Tuscany, they're very much about blends, and Bordeaux, blends. There are regions that very much it's single varietal, but it's important to know that, especially for this last wine, probably the Montepulciano, if it was by itself, would have been amazing. And same with the Aglianico. But when you blend that, and again, it's based on whatever the percentage is, this made this wine just really something over the top for me, like where this is really spectacular.
It's interesting you said that because actually the Maggio Donati, they do make a wine, a special wine called Don Luigi. It's the icon wine, and that's mostly Montepulciano, almost 100% Montepulciano. And Don Luigi Di Maggio Donati is the father of Alessio. Him, they made this wine. It's a great wine, and it's a really a beautiful special of Montepulciano in the Molise land of Malaysia.
And as soon as we exit the video, I will be slapping Marcello because I don't believe I've ever tasted that wine with him.
Are you serious?
I think so.
Probably. Well, we tasted so many wines together that I don't remember.
I don't remember that story. So, but let's see if we have any more questions. Yes. I would imagine also too, this last wine was probably a really good pairing with what Chef Ryan put together. I do want to extend my thanks to him. He's so talented and creative, and I tell you what, sometimes I've worked with chefs that they just want to hand you what their menu is, and then you pair the wines, and instead Ryan is much more interested in making sure that everything is really integrated. And so for all of the wine dinners, and even for like these wine tastings, he and I taste the wines and figure out what's, sometimes it's been hard to figure out what might or might not work with all of the different wines that we've had, because we've had 3 very different wines tonight. And so he does a great job. So I want to give a great shout out to him.
No, I agree with you. I don't want to say, Chef Ryan and all his team, a fantastic job. Again, usually I have, when I do events, you have a different approach. Some people that they trust you, you know the wine very well, so they give you the menu, and I pair the wine with my experience. But other people like Dinah and Angelina with the chef Ryan, I bring them samples. As a matter of fact, tonight I bring wines for another dinner we're going to do on May 29th. They do this way ahead. They taste the wine like 2-3 weeks ahead of the dinner. They taste the wine, they think, they go back, they to try dishes, they go back. So there's a lot thought put together. So even just one dish tonight for 3 wine, there was a lot of thought put together to make sure that the dish was going to go well with the different wines. So thank you again, you and Chef Ryan and all the team.
Well, and the other great thing too, Ryan, he's not formally trained to taste, but because of all his tasting experience being a chef, he will taste things in wines and dang. And and then I like to cook, and so I'm not formally trained for that, but sometimes I'll be like, well, what if we did it with this? And so I think the 2 of us marry up really well together when we go to taste and try things, and we have a good time doing it, and so it's a great experience. So, Marcello, is there anything
Well,
else that you'd
everybody,
like to say?
I just want to make sure that it knows everybody in the chat here is thanking Chef Ryan. He's doing an amazing job, he and his team. So
Yeah.
thank you, all of you. We know that, and we're gonna share with Chef Ryan for sure. Because everybody's really, sending heart and hugs to Chef Ryan and his team. So.
Yes. Well, and I also want to mention too, we have again Blind Tasting Tuesday coming up on May 12th, and then Marcello had mentioned the dinner that we have with Alessandro Chilai on May 15th,
Right.
but that's at 6:30. Everything else has been at 5:30. Why he chose to be up at 12:30 instead of 11:30 over in Italy is anyone's guess, but
Well, Alessandro was trying to be considerate to be make sure that the people have enough time to stay home and have a proper dinner.
That's nice. But again, that'll be 3 bottles of wine, 3 courses of food for 2 people for $150 per person, plus any of the handouts and all that kind of stuff.
And the thing is that, Dinah is amazing, and you all love her. I live here, so it's okay. But
and he's amazing.
Having Alessandro Celai live, that he makes those wines, he crafts those wines. It's going to be a unique experience. So I am excited to be part of that. So I'm sure that you will be as well.
Yeah. So if you'd like to call and make a reservation, telephone number for that for Angelina's is 239-390-3187. Also, again, I'm pleased to tell you that the restaurant is open again for service and dining in our restaurant. Telephone number is 239-390-3187. I'm sorry you have to call the restaurant for all of these things, but we are currently not utilizing Open Table at this time because we really want to control the flow of the restaurant for 25% capacity. We absolutely do not want to put anyone in danger by having somebody overbook or and because your health, our employees' health is of the highest importance, and we love all of you and we love seeing all of you. I just want to say thank you so much to Marcello Palazzi from Wineco. I think this was really fun for me.
Well, I want to thank you
Yeah.
because we are friends.
Yes.
You're amazing, but I appreciate this. That's what I love to do. Yeah. I want to thank you, all of you. I know that it's a different situation, but I'm so amazing, so proud. All of you being very open to try a different way to still enjoy what we love. We love food and wine. And guess what? We are doing this. So there's nothing that can stop us. They can trust whatever they can trust. Pandemic, no pandemic. We found a way to work around. So cheers to all of you. Thank you.
Cheers to all of you.
Thank you
so much, and have a great evening. We will see you Tuesday for Wine Tasting Tuesday and next Friday for our wine dinner.
Yes, buonanotte. Ciao.
Ciao.